top sports where the takes don't miss. The prof with the stats, the champ with the fist. War to bring in fire, cowboy, tie, riding bold. Bulls calling bets, watch the stories unfold. And it's truly eyebrows running the show. It's high top sports, baby. Let's get it, let's go.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to High Top Sports this beautiful Tuesday morning. Good to see you. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, on the way to 30,000 subs. And, of course, the show's brought to you by Kalshi. Got a few things to discuss. We talked about a lot of things now. We got multiple shows throughout the day, but we'll have some time. I mean, hopefully we can get a beer review today. Hopefully Cody's little belly welly is feeling a little better. We can have ourselves a review. Coach, hey.
I just listened to you. Hey, I just listened to you hack for the last 20 minutes online. Don't tell me about my belly welly. What was that? What kind of grown man says belly welly to another grown man? Wrong with you?
I mean, that was you yesterday. My man,
It did hurt. Yeah, it did hurt for sure. Let's
look.
fire it up right away.
No, I gotta make it wait.
Let's go.
We gotta make it wait.
Okay.
We gotta make it wait. People tune in. Is my microphone not working?
No, it's working.
Okay. Oh my God, goodness gracious. We gotta do the advent calendar. Everyone's fired up for the advent calendar. You know what I mean? Like it's I know you're chomping at the bit to get after that. So we're gonna talk about what's wrong with my microphone. Don't do this to me, J-Lock.
Sounds fine.
All right, yeah, it's just my headset. My microphone had an issue last night, so I haven't changed it yet. But good morning, good to see you. We're going to talk about a couple different things. Notre Dame and ACC are having a little bit of a tiffle, a little tummy-wummy problems, if you will. So we'll talk about that because, look, technically Notre Dame's part of the ACC. Their entire organization is part of the ACC except the football part of it. And the ACC had obviously was happy with the Miami situation. It kind of like they don't look at Notre Dame as their own. So there's a little bit.
It's a terrible product. I mean, it's just a terrible conference.
I know, but they were kind of mad because it's like my partnership is taking jabs at me, right? You good? Back.
You see the shit? You see the shit I gotta do around here?
Oh, please, you're gonna be doing dishes and
Get him. And so we'll talk about Ole Miss bringing back a couple of coaches here from LSU, which I find interesting. Playoffs. I got into a debacle on Twitter yesterday about this particular thing, and it was fun. It was annoying, but it was a little bit of fun. And then side chick hire. We'll discuss what all that means, but I want to dive into this really quickly. I know we've talked about it a lot, and I know people probably over it. But I do find it interesting that, for me anyway, for somebody who covers this, like hearing all the sides as much as you can, the one side that I think will probably be the last side that I'll be intrigued to hear about would be from Lane. But I don't know if we'll ever get that true side of it. But Stricklin spoke on it, which I thought was very interesting. I was in awe that he was willing. Now, sat down with Andy Staples. I'm sure there was a set of questions, but I don't know if you guys watched the interview or don't care to watch the interview, but watching Stricklin talk about this Lane Kiffin thing was very enlightening, personally. I don't know if he's just a really good politician, him being Scott Stricklin or what, but I was like, man, obviously somewhere all kind of has won our hearts over, for sure, as Florida fans, and then hearing Danny Werfel talk, and I understand it's their side of it, so they're going to tell you what they want you to hear. But Scott wasn't really like, he seemed very vulnerable in discussing this of like, yeah, like, we wanted Lane. It was just very refreshing to hear. Look, I don't feel like we were too far off. We being media, we being kind of the Gator people, and what we were hearing, what we were reporting on. Like, up until that last week, it sounds like we were all dialed the F in, to be honest with you. And shit went haywire, right? Now, that last week when things went awry was the part that obviously nobody knew about, but he kind of spoke to that where it's like, once we decided to move to Summerall, we didn't want anybody to know. We didn't want to ruin it on John's side. We didn't want to ruin it on our side. So we had to find out when was that perfect time. And he goes, I don't know if we did it or not. Maybe we did. It feels like we did. And I think he's right. He's like, when can we make the smoothest transition possible of like, hey, we're going on to option number 2. Because look, whatever we thought we had with Lane, what isn't working.
I think we felt it. I think we kind of felt the shift. It was like we started questioning, like, hey, is this cat coming? Like, like sign it, damn it, sign whatever you need to sign. And I feel like especially the last week before he signed with LSU, we were kind of like, do we need to start looking at other candidates? You know what I mean? Like, is this gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of kept saying, look, option 2, you have to be ready to go. So I think that's something that I do give kudos to Stricklin for being ready and having a very viable backup number 2. And clearly that conversation went further than just the head coach, right? Like they had a plan for who the coordinators were going to be, given the fact that the coordinators were hired within 24 hours, right? So again, the interview was just very refreshing in my eyes to hear Scott actually talk about it, be vulnerable, talked about their relationship with Turnkey. And he also, which I found out, which we were wrong on this, is I thought everyone, I'm pretty sure, was under the impression that they used Turnkey to hire Todd Golden. Even Andy was like, well, no, you used him before to hire Todd Golden. And he goes, no, I didn't. We didn't use them. And and he goes, oh, you hired a championship coach without a firm. So, and he spoke to why he chose to use a firm and why he hasn't in the past, mainly because when he used one in the past, things leaked out too much, and that was why he felt like he wanted, because he goes, these are very important. And the other part I liked about it too, he was very understanding how the fan base would be. He's like, I know they're going to be nuts, and he goes, what was kind of cool? He's like, John came to me and was like, he goes, how do you think you're going to go vote about hiring another G5 guy? Like basically doing the same thing. What are you going to do? and Todd or Stricklin was like, yeah, I know what we're going to do, because you also know that you're going to get flack for it too. And he goes, then he goes, you guys saw his answer and how he handled it, but he was totally prepared for it. So
they're not it's not like they're blind and deaf. They know what the fan base wants. As many as people that think that they don't listen, they listen extremely well. Okay, what's up, Scott? Glad you're in here. It's like they definitely have a pulse on what the fan base wanted. And out of all the G5 coaches, I think we got the most energetic. I think that we got the guy that just really doesn't give a shit what people think. And he's won at 2 different places. I think he was the best G5 coach that you could have went out and got.
Yeah, look,
it's not like there was like 25 great candidates for this job opening.
Yeah, and look, I don't know people, and I'm not trying to talk about the Lane thing about like him. I'm not like, whoa, we should have got Lane. I think, because I know people are gonna be tired of hearing about it. I'm more intrigued with Scott's his positioning on talking about it, and then the openness of understanding how it would have impacted. And look, I mean, kudos to him of talking about it when he did, because clearly everybody's already over it. So it's like, okay, we can talk about it now. Even though it was just a week ago, we were ready to burn this whole thing down to a stud. So I just thought it was refreshing, because I didn't think we would ever get one. I thought that presser we saw was all we were ever going to get. $10. Do you notice he never tells us he was not in the pursuit of the GM while in talks with Lane. Instead, it sounds like they were hiring our GM, and Lane was going to have to deal with it. I guess that part I didn't really take in too much into it, because on Danny's side of it, he did say that they were considering Glasscock, whatever his name is. $2, ACC almost competitive conference. I know, I love it. I call it the always crappy conference, but $5. Am I the only fan that's nervous we're going to lose ball since we did not retain Coach Jaluk? Bad decision and unnecessary. We can talk about that for just a quick second, because Cody didn't get a chance to discuss this yesterday. We talked about it. I don't believe Jaluk is going to impact that as much as we think, personally. Look, I think that all the running backs, we're all kind of poached from Napier.
We're talking this we're talking the same guy that wouldn't start ETN over Montreal, and ETN was definitely the better back. I get the run support stuff, but it doesn't matter. That we're talking the same guy that allowed Jaden Ball to only get 5-10 touches and then go MIA.
I don't know if that was
We're talking that running
Jaluk.
back coach. No, that's he runs a rotation.
I mean, it's hard to know who has that much control over it because this year it changed obviously dramatically, and even more so when Napier was gone. So
Running backs aren't hard to find. Plus the suspension, slapping the LSU player wasn't a good look. I mean, bro, we're talking running back coach, okay? Like it's
yeah.
like,
look, I said it
like
last
he
night.
wasn't the greatest thing since sliced bread. He was good.
He's
He
got some
wasn't
great
getting
numbers.
He wasn't getting 5-star running backs.
I mean, who knows if we needed him or not? But yeah, I think for me, I said it yesterday. Chapman was the only one worth retaining in my eyes. It's the thing is, like, I think a lot of us are looking around and we go, well, this was good. It's a cheerleader effect. It's like, yeah, they looked good because what was surrounding them was, it's like a bunch of ugly chicks. So everyone else that is pretty mid looked better than probably what they were because how bad everything else was. So, look, I had nothing against Jaluk, but and I think he
The
did a lot of great
linebackers looked
things.
good too. The linebackers looked really, really good.
Yeah, but he's gone. Robert Ball is gone because he's bringing his own guy from Tulane, the former Gators. So, how much of the linebacker play was just the play calling? And keep in mind, I mean, they're still very young.
The talent,
Yeah,
or the
just
talent.
the raw talent. Look, Q Lee said Billy G should have been kept. I disagree with that. I do personally. And I think a lot of it out of all the coaches, he had an opportunity to showcase what he had been doing, and it wasn't like the wide receivers just absolutely torched. Now a lot of injuries happened too, which didn't help. But I mean, outside of just the history that Billy G has, if you're gonna go I don't think Billy G goes to a Power 4 school tomorrow, and that should tell you all
No.
that you need to know. Maybe he does, and I'm wrong, but I would be shocked if he did.
Yeah, maybe go out and grab Dallas Baker.
Yeah, that could be one to watch. I don't know how the Baylor situation is with Dave Arionda. I don't know if he's going to stay or not. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And he could be open for business. But again, and Dallas has had, I would say, some good production. I don't know about recruiting wise, but he also is at
Baylor.
Yeah,
A little different when you're at Baylor compared to the University of Florida, your alma mater, somewhere that you love and somewhere that has bred, great wide receiver talent. You did it at such a high level. They gave you a nickname, Dallas Baker, the touchdown maker. Like it's a little different. The juices are a little different when you get to your alma mater and you get to put on that orange and blue. Okay, you're not wearing that ugly green and yellow. Well, you wake up and you feel a little different. You got a little more swagger about you. I think you can recruit a little bit better, definitely at the University of Florida. So I'm not worried about the recruiting aspect. I'm worried about development aspect, and they slung it around the yard this year, and their wide receivers look pretty good. So, it's one of those things where, don't forget the staff only had 4 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's
I don't understand the sympathy.
The staff got blown out by Kentucky.
Yeah,
okay?
I don't understand the sympathy for people leaving. It's got to go. Look, Jaluk recruited low level backs, but developed them. The difference between him and other position coaches on this staff. Look, I mean, if we do talk about it like that, Trevor Etienne was a four-star back that never truly got past a certain point. Like, I don't feel like he looked any better than his freshman year. Jaden Ball, I mean, if we're being honest, looked much better his freshman year. He got much better towards the back half of the year of this year, but kind of had a slow start. Let's be honest. It was a sluggish start to the beginning for whatever reason that it was. So, again, I'm not taking anything against Jaluk, but Jaden Ball just hit the ground running. Like Jaden Ball is just Jaden Ball.
This is a terrible take, dog. Last few 5-stars backs have been busts. Texas has put one in the league every year.
Last few 5-stars have been busts though, so far I wouldn't be concerned about a 5-star. I kind of agree with that. I mean, Jarek Gibson was a much higher rated back. Like the 5-star backs, in my opinion, I always say this. They're a dime a dozen, in my opinion. I don't know if you go out there. The kid hitter that just committed to Michigan. He was like a top 10 player. Like, I haven't seen a running back rated that high in I don't know how long. That kid better just run everybody over. Like, it's hard to.
Texans don't have a problem with it.
What do you mean, getting them?
Bro,
I mean,
put him in the league.
CJ Baxter's 5-star. He's hitting the portal.
Okay, that's one guy though.
No,
look how
I
many
think
backs they put in the. Look how many Texas Longhorn backs they put in the league in the last 6 years.
Yeah, I think that there's more. I think
forget about it.
I know. I think his take of running backs is much better than what you're stating. Yeah, Ball is a dog. Yeah, look at Baxter. I love how we both said that. If we could play the game real quick, and we got time. Let's go look at the past running backs, I guess, right? We'll do 2024 for just running backs. I'm gonna beat you.
They had that weird that weird stint where like all of them tore their ACL.
All right, so Taylor Tatum from Oklahoma. Then you have Nate Frazier, but he wasn't even a 5-star. So that's what I'm saying. 5-star running backs are not as common as you say they are. Jarrett Gibson was a number 3 back in the country in 2024. He hasn't played. Kedron Young, 4-star. He's been behind Jordan Love. Daniel Hill at Alabama. I haven't heard much of him. Caden Durham. He was okay.
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan was 5 years ago.
What was Jaden Blue?
Jaden Blue was not a 5-star. No.
High 4-star.
James Peoples. I don't even think he's even starting. He lost his job to Bo Jackson. So these are your first. So we just went through the top 8, and I think there's only 2 that have been. Nate Frazier is the only one that I can think of. Taylor Tatum been okay. Cam Davis, number 11 running back, has been ass.
Go look at Texas. I said Texas.
Okay, but they're not. I just gave you the top 10 running backs in the country. Jarrett Gibson was the number 1, and he's not even playing. He's in the portal. So that was last year. Okay, so you've already lost. Bijan Robinson was 9 years ago, brother.
Spring. He tore his knee in spring.
Who?
Jaden Gibson.
Jarrett Gibson. But that's fine. But he's also gone. So CJ Baxter's the other one who just entered into the portal. That was from 2020. He was a 5-star. From 2023, he's gone. Justin Haynes went to Michigan. He's doing well, but he left. Ruben Owens has been an absolute treat. So I can't discredit you. Jeremiah Love, much better class. Mark Fletcher, Richard Young. Richard Young's not even playing.
I don't know who that cat is.
He was at Alabama. Dylan Edwards was number 12, went to Colorado. He's been okay. Isaiah Augusta at Arkansas, he went to Colorado for a little bit. Roderick Robinson completely fell off the map. So we don't have any of these running backs. Treyon Webb hasn't even played. Obviously, injuries have been killing him. But
yeah,
the point is, I think you lost this battle. You lost this battle. Yeah. You took the L on this one. Because Bijan Robinson was, I mean, geez, I don't even know when that was. Look, that I don't. My thing is, you don't lay it all on the land for running backs. I've always been a big component of that. So, I mean, we've had some pretty talented running backs in the last 4 years since Napier has been there, and yeah, Jam Miller was from 2022, and we just started to hear about him this year, which is wild. Le'Veon Moss, same thing. Jadon Blue was a 4-star cat in 2022.
In the league.
I mean, when did he go? When did he get drafted? Where is he at? No L's after a beer review. It was a fun little pissing contest there.
I just saw it.
Yeah, you can't want Napier fired, but want his staff. Yeah, look.
Yeah,
Chapman was the only one. I said it yesterday. He's like the ugly duckling that you could keep, like in the good kind of way. With Scully limits officially now moving to 105, and we are at 84. I think John goes after 20 plus in the portal. He's gonna have to. I think he's gonna have to do more. I don't think he retains a lot of it. I think a lot of this. Look, I said this. You're gonna have to.
With Dallas.
He's with Dallas, but when did he get drafted?
This last year.
I meant like round, Cody.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Don't be so quick to forget Billy called the plays.
That
Billy
doesn't-
also
that
chose
doesn't
Montrell
matter.
over ETN the season prior. Can't put that on Jaluk. Yeah, I don't. Cody's arguing some wild stuff this morning. $10. Being a coach is like being in the military. At some point, you are moving. Pack your bags and go. New administration means new people. Everyone knows how it works, so no one should be surprised. Yeah, I don't think the coaches are. I think the fans are a little more, I would say, surprised on it. But you got to understand, it's like, look, again, when a new regime comes in, you're applying for the job once again, and if you're sitting there, take away your emotional components of it, and take a look at Jaluk. Interview Jaluk. Interview Billy Gonzalez. Look at the product that you've seen. I mean, I guess Jacoby Jackson got hurt. He went quiet this year. But yeah, look, nothing against Jaluk, like I said, but I think it was time to move on. I don't think hitting a player did him any favors anyways. So, yeah, there's that. All right, let's get into this, and then we'll do a beer review for the coach so he can get warmed up. And he can get all less grumpy. So Notre Dame and ACC, they're obviously they've got a little bit of a relationship. They're a partnership to an extent because the entire rest of Notre Dame's sporting events is in the ACC, except their hockey team is in the Big Ten. But that's besides the point. And now you got the ACC kind of flexing their muscles on Notre Dame. Like the better team got in. They put like some graphics out with showing why Miami was in over Notre Dame. And I obviously it's like my partner in crime here, who I do business with, is now taking shots at me, saying that I'm not worthy enough, saying that I'm not good enough to be here. And I think this is really going to push forward the conversation of Notre Dame joining the conference. And a lot of people, you myself included, have been arguing for this on why they missed out on the playoffs. Although I do believe that their schedule this year was very healthy. Next year is an absolute joke, mind you. But this year I felt that they did a pretty damn good job of putting together a fun schedule. Outside of not having to play in a conference championship, I think it was a well put together schedule. And now could you see where Notre Dame looks at this thing and goes, "Hey, I don't want to work with you anymore. I don't want to be associated with somebody who doesn't support me." And now there's going to be conversations of possibly them joining either the SEC or the Big Ten. The Big Ten, in my opinion, has always made the most sense. The problem is, and it's because too, again, the Big Ten does a good job of like having just a global or a national brand. I mean, they've already got the entire. They got football teams everywhere, literally from the West Coast to the East Coast to the middle of America. Like they got it covered. So Notre Dame would just plop right in there from a recruiting standpoint, from a national geographical standpoint, and it just fits. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes sense for them to be a part of it. It's never made sense, in my opinion, for them to be a part of the ACC, although it's not the worst thing in the world. The SEC makes zero sense. Zero. They're
not
just,
coming to the SEC.
Hell no. But you can't. I don't know
They
if you
don't
can,
want that smoke.
No, but I don't know if you can go to the Big Ten. Yeah, they have a lifelong feud. Yeah, I don't know. But the Big Ten has a problem with 45 schools already in their conference. I don't think you can just throw one more in there.
Throw them in the Big 12.
I don't hate it.
That juice that thing up a little bit.
Yeah, that kind of fits too. I feel like they're kind of like the misfit toys, right? Like they've got like they're a little bit of the melting pot where they kind of have a little bit of every. Like Iowa State in the Big 12 doesn't make sense, and neither does West Virginia.
You got Kansas State in there. That's close. That's geographically pretty close to Indiana.
West Virginia is kind of Iowa State.
Iowa State. I throw them in the Big 12. They got to join a conference. Listen, the problem is ACC's they're tired of being the side chick. Okay, they want them to commit. That's why they're taking shots. Anybody been in a relationship with a little honey that they don't want to marry and just stringing them along, because they got that velvet ditch. Listen, it's the same thing. They only want to use them for the sports that don't matter. And they're like, hey, what about football? Hey, what about football? Hey, what about football? Hey, will you marry me? Hey, will you put the ring on it? And Notre Dame's like, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. Not committing. So the ACC's like, fine, I'll just burn it down. Who cares? Nobody watches Notre Dame basketball. Nobody watches Notre Dame track and field.
That is true. The rest of the rest
Like,
of
what
the
are we doing? They're a one-trick pony.
yeah, that is true. The rest of their sports bring absolutely zero value. I mean, I can't say zero value, but it's not. That is true. They are definitely very heavy. Notre Dame is a Big Ten team. Pac-12, no, they can't go to Pac-12. I guess they were denied multiple times because they don't like the Catholics back in the day by the Big Ten. But they have to join somebody again. For me, what's that?
The Big 12 already has religious-based schools and BYU, and boy, we could really juice up the Holy War.
Look, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I've never really been. For me, I like this argument. It's always been fun for me. Notre Dame being what Notre Dame is what, in my eyes, a part of like the uniqueness of college football. Them not being in a conference is all that I've ever known, and I don't know. I like it. I like the quirkiness of it, and
they can continue to do that. Just don't expect to win championships because you can't get in the playoffs.
That part I disagree with. I think that you're going to limit yourself a little bit for sure, but you say that, and yet how many teams made the playoffs without playing in a conference championship? So that's my point is like you can't say that when a team that did not play in a conference championship jumped them. The conference had nothing to do, them playing and not playing had nothing to do with the Miami situation. You realize this, right? Like that's where the argument is invalid.
The reason the Miami got in is because they were ACC.
Okay, so that part I do agree with. I don't. What?
The ACC won their bid. They paid their money.
Well, they don't. They okay, but so that's a problem though because they didn't earn their bid. So that honestly is a product of an issue. But that's a problem. That's not Notre Dame's fault because
if we were earning it, we would take just the top 12 teams regardless.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. No, it's not true. Listen, you can't.
Teams.
I don't understand this argument with people. I do it at work when it's like you're so hard-headed. What you want and what the rules are two different things. And if we want to argue about the rules, fine. But you can't saying that, hey, we should have done this. You can't do this when you put rules in place. That's the matter of a fact. So when you put a rule and you tell me that your 5 highest-rated conference champions are going to get a guaranteed spot, everything else at that point is out the window. You can't make any more judgments. So that was never
champions. They didn't say Notre Dame too.
No, but Notre Dame was ranked in the final 12. They put Notre Dame in there. The committee put Notre Dame in there.
It's their rules. If they were in the ACC, Notre Dame would be in. That's just factual.
I mean, look, I can agree. I said it the other day, so you're taking my argument and using it against me. I believe that they would have.
If they were in the SEC, they would be in.
Well, I think they'd be in because their strength of schedule probably would have been a little bit harder. But at the same time, though, how can you say that when Vanderbilt has 2 losses and they weren't in?
Bro, we're talking Notre Dame and Vandy. A little different on the money aspect.
Yeah, but see, that's why I hate that when we. I hate that when we. So you're telling me that we're just putting teams in based on popularity, not about playing on the football field,
bro.
Then why do we put Miami over Notre Dame? If what you're telling me, why would you put? Well, not even close.
Because
to
they're
Notre
in
Dame.
the ACC. They were in the ACC. That's why.
Again, that's a problem for me because the ACC didn't deserve to get in. Notre Dame deserved to get in over the ACC.
Happy about it. I could give a shit less.
I know, but we're arguing. We're trying to say, hey, Notre Dame, you've got to get into a conference because we, the committee, is too incompetent to do our job properly. So you're going to have to get screwed because of our mishap. No, because there's 5 other teams that made it.
I'm not believing the MOU thing.
Also, Cody, also BYU, who is in a conference that had less losses than both of those teams we just mentioned, outside of losing a conference championship, didn't get in. Guess what, Cody? They're in a fucking conference. But their conference isn't viewed as good enough, so now they don't get in. So, yes, you can join a conference, but if the conference isn't good enough, then you're not going to get in anyways. So the argument doesn't work any way. That's why it's like, there's nothing telling. If I'm Notre Dame,
Tech got in.
BYU did it. BYU
Who
did,
cares? Texas Tech got fucking in. That's their conference champion.
but BYU had a better record than both of
Texas
them.
Tech twice.
BYU had a better record than both of them. Why wasn't BYU in?
Bro, I want it like you want it. I want the best teams ever.
But why
to be
wasn't
in.
BYU in it? Answer that. Why wasn't BYU?
Because
No.
Texas Tech was in it.
No. See that concept
Bro,
that
you're not understanding. I want what you want. It's jacked up.
No.
It's jacked up. We all know this.
No, I know, but hold on. We're arguing. What we're arguing about is you're arguing because you're mad that Notre Dame should get into a conference. But if I'm Notre Dame,
I don't care. I'm just saying, don't expect to get in every year.
But that's what
close.
That's what I'm saying. That's they're joining the conference. What you showed me today, or what you showed me this past week, was joining a conference doesn't provide any solutions outside of if they would have had an opportunity to play in the ACC championship.
What do you mean? That's why we got James Madison in, because they're in a conference. If James Madison was independent, we wouldn't be talking about them cats.
No, we got James Madison because the ACC has a fluke winner.
We got James Madison because they're in a conference, dog. They're in a conference. Notre Dame would have took James Madison's spot if they were in a conference. They were in the ACC.
Not technically, but they would have to have won the championship game.
Okay. They probably would have. Against Duke?
Well, I mean, Duke won the ACC
Jeremiah
championship.
ran
Duke
for,
also
500 yards. He'd still be scoring touchdowns.
Also, Duke won the ACC championship and didn't get in. That's
because
what I'm saying.
They're terrible. It's a terrible conference, dog. I don't like it.
I know, but you're contradicting yourself. You're contradicting.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. They could not put Duke in. Everybody knows that.
I know, but you're telling me you're telling me if he would have played in a conference championship and won their conference championship,
Duke wouldn't have made it. Duke wouldn't even have made it into the conference championship.
See right here though. Hold on. This comment from Bryson. It says joining a conference gives you a stronger resume and schedule. I disagree. But this is what I'm arguing, because if that was true,
well, it gives you
hold on.
Let me
answer this. If this were true, then BYU would have been ranked higher than Notre Dame. This is what I'm saying. There's two parts to this argument. Like, I agree with you, if they're in a conference, then they have an opportunity to play in a championship, which is a different side of the argument. But I'm also arguing that you have 4 or 5 teams that are in the championship, right? No, there's 7 teams. No, 5 teams that are in the playoffs that did not play in their conference championship. Now, you could argue, well, they play in the SEC, so their schedule's harder, which I'll address here in just a moment. But BYU played in a conference, lost less games, but was not ranked higher than Notre Dame, and then were ranked higher than Miami, but not of Notre Dame, so they weren't in the playoffs to start this off. They had to win their Big 12 championship to get in, right? So, and then you're like, well, their schedule is weak. Well, that's not what we're arguing. They're in a conference. But them being in a conference did not benefit BYU, is all that I'm saying. It didn't benefit them. What would have benefited them is their out of conference scheduling, which, in my opinion, Notre Dame had an ACC schedule. Notre Dame had an ACC schedule. They had Miami ranked. They had A&M, an SEC team, Arkansas, an SEC team, and USC, a top-tier Big Ten team. And then the rest of it was literally ACC teams. We're talking Pitt, who was ranked, who was up for it. We're talking Syracuse. We're talking Boston College. That's no different than Notre Dame's schedule or than Miami's schedule.
The problem is they're not ranked in with the ACC. So all these games are just hoopla.
What do you mean they're not ranked with the ACC? Do you get an extra point if you're in the conference?
Yes. That's why James Madison is in, because they're in a conference, dog.
That doesn't make sense.
How do you not get this?
No, that's not. No, you're arguing two different things, brother. You're talking about the strength of schedule.
Listen. Will you listen for a second? The reason why Notre Dame doesn't get in is because their whole schedule is a bunch of randoms from a bunch of random places, some years it's from the SEC, some years from the Big Ten, some years they play common opponents in the ACC.
Okay, come on.
The problem is,
Okay, so with that,
is the entire thing is wadded up and thrown in the fucking trash because there's no statistical rating on where they are in their conference. They would have got in if they won the ACC championship with their record right now.
Okay, so let's say if Notre Dame picked, let's say they played this year, they played Ohio State, Alabama, Texas Tech.
Let me
finish.
Matter.
No.
Dude,
okay, so if they played all those teams, we would just say it doesn't matter because they're not in a conference.
We've already seen non-con is bullshit. It doesn't really matter.
That doesn't make any sense.
We saw it in the SEC.
If they played the top 12 teams this year, we would just throw it to the wayside because there's no statistical data.
I'm not saying we would or wouldn't, okay? But that's not what happened. That's not near what happened.
The chat's to split 50-50 here, and I love it because I'm lost in the sauce here of what I don't know. Look, I think next year their schedule's going to be ass, and they're going to have a lot harder to get in. My thing is that the conference.
Why do we have?
hold on.
Why do we have James Madison in the?
I understand why we have them in
playoff.
it because they won their conference championship. Look, there's two
Ta-da!
parts.
Holy shit!
There's two parts
All they
though.
have to do is join the ACC.
Brother.
And
There
it's
is two
done.
parts to this.
I'm glad they got left out.
Would
I
they
can't
have
stand
had?
them.
Okay. Would they have had another avenue if they were in a conference and they could have played in a conference championship? Yes, I don't disagree with you.
They could.
Do I believe that they should be penalized? I put a couple extra letters in there for not playing in one because they didn't get an extra game. They were penalized. They had them being penalized was them waiting on the outside looking in. Now, if BYU would have won their conference championship, they would have organically kicked Notre Dame out, and I would have been okay with that because that's what you get. Hold on, let me go. Because that's what you get for not playing in a conference championship. However, Notre Dame did a damn good job of making their schedule as hard as it was to make their wins be valuable, to have them ranked at 10th at the end of the year. That's all that I'm saying. And then you kick them out for a team that didn't play in a conference championship. So what is Miami being in the ACC that didn't even play in the damn championship allow for you to kick a team out that you had ranked ahead of them? That's what I'm saying. Now, then you can extend the argument. It's not the same argument that if Notre Dame played in the ACC, they wouldn't have had this problem, right? Because they would have controlled their own destiny. Yes, I agree with that too. I agree with you on that too. But they didn't do that. They finagled their way in the proper way and got screwed over because of no reason at all. That's all that I'm saying.
When you're the squeaky wheel, you get the grease. They constantly say year in and year out, we're not joining a conference. We're going to beat our chest. We're Notre Dame. We don't have to join a conference. We're Notre Dame. We'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere.
They did.
So guess what? When you're the squeaky wheel or the nail that's sticking out that you constantly get your flip-flop hung up on when you walk out to drink your morning coffee or let the dogs out, one of these times you're going to get hammered. And they got hammered. And I don't feel bad for them. I could care less. I could give shit less if they made the playoffs over Miami or Duke or whoever. I hate Notre Dame. I hate what they stand for. Have you met a Notre Dame fan? They're terrible.
I texted my buddy right after they got kicked out and harassed him for it. I mean, I've had fun. Look, Notre Dame was only ranked 10th.
LSU was bad?
Hold on,
Notre
reform
Dame's
salt.
10 times worse.
Notre Dame was only ranked 10th because of the brand. Let's be real. That's not what we're arguing. Listen. My issue is that I'm defending. I'm trying to. You have to stick to the ground. Why you put him 10th or why you didn't put him 10th is not my problem. The fact of the matter is that they had him 10th. Why they were there is not up to me. I didn't make that call. But if you set a precedent, you've got to stick behind that. That's what I'm referring to. This is fun. I've had a good time. Maybe you guys started hearing about it, but it's been a good time. $5. Here we go. Hold on. I can't see it. If its and buts were candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of doing that. I want to know how big the check was the ACC and or Miami wrote the committee. Yeah, it had to have been massive. had to have been massive. That's why I keep telling Cody that if Notre Dame should be in a conference. BYU didn't pass the
Oh my God.
pass
Join the
pass
mob
the
already,
committee's
damn it.
eye test. Yeah. Look, I think that I am supporting my argument with BYU. I think people are overlooking. I think that's a phenomenal stance there because BYU didn't benefit by being in a conference. It hurt them being in the Big 12 conference, and it hurt them being BYU. If
BYU was independent, we wouldn't even be talking about them.
well, because it's BYU.
They're not relevant.
Because
They're
BYU,
irrelevant
I
school.
can't stand that we put what if we want parity and I know you're gonna agree with this. We're in agreement on this. How can we get two? We're okay with 2 Power 5s, but BYU doesn't have enough value in the logo for us to give any credit for. Like, what are we talking about? So because they haven't been good in the past, we're not going to look at them the same way as we look at as an Alabama. Like, what are we doing here? Like, that's a problem.
Why?
How is that being considered? So you're
Okay,
telling
but
me if you were part of the committee and you're looking at it and you're not you take a the logo shouldn't have an impact on who you pick to be in.
But it does. That's how we get rankings week 1. It's all logo status.
I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with you on that. I'm not a fan of it.
Like all the smaller teams have to play in to earn their keep. It's go look at the top 15, top 10 schools in the last 10 years.
No, I'm not.
Week
Look,
one.
I'm not saying that I know that it works that way. I don't agree with it. As well,
I
I'm
don't
saying.
agree with it either. But I'm also not going to sit. I'm also not going to sit here and cry and whimper and beg for Notre Dame fans because they're too dumb to just join the conference. When they've joined the conference, here's the thing: if you don't be half in, don't be a hoe. Don't be half in, and it's okay for these sports, but it's not okay for God, I lost my train of thought.
Knows the brew. Professor steps in with the foam in the air. Got a brew in his hand and a confident flair. Hop so crisp, yeah, they make you care about the science in the bubbles, man, it's rare, so rare. Spinning facts like
Welcome
a
to
DJ
Quaff
on the
On.
decks. Flavor
Who's your
profiles
red?
coming straight
You know me,
from
I love my red beer. I love my red beers. I've never had this one before. It's newer. So let's go ahead and take a big old swig. It's a little flat now because we've been arguing for the last 40 minutes about Notre Dame. God knows why.
I know,
Nobody
bro.
cares about
We
them.
got completely off of the trails here, but it's all right.
Oh, yeah, this thing's like a sweet loaf of bread. Oh, it tastes like the Outback bread. You know the brown bread?
Oh yeah,
Oh, my gosh. Oh, this thing's at 8.1, dog.
really?
I got Outback bread with alcohol in a glass. This thing's kick ass. I love that thing.
Real
Who's your
quick, I
red?
just-
Go check it out.
Now that you're all bubbly inside. My only point that I was making, we kind of got off a little bit of a tangent, which always happens in arguments, is that I don't believe there's just like we're arguing for Notre Dame to be in a conference. What happened today or this past week? I'm not. Look, could there be an incentive for them to join one? Maybe, but again, my BYU argument was showing that
Shoot,
what
it was muted.
the music.
Yeah, no audio. Us. Can you hear us now?
Hold on. Go ahead. Talk.
Yeah, we got who's your quaff on? Who's your red? From Indiana here. This thing's like a it tastes like an Outback bread in a bottle. It's delicious. The brown bread at Outback, it's great.
I see you. I see the audio working.
No mute. What?
It's confusing here. We got
Bro,
this.
we're in shambles. You know what it is? Because we're talking Notre Dame football. Nobody cares about it. Are we good now?
I don't know.
Can't do beer
This is-
reviews on YouTube no more?
I mean, I see the audio working on my end, but I have no idea what's happening on their end.
Oh, it's doing the go in, go out. Everybody that's having an audio problem.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's on the YouTube side.
Hop
So
out.
you got to hop out, and
Yeah.
hop back in. It's not us.
Hop out, hop back in. It's not us. It's YouTube. I don't know why. That's been happening a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, my point was I don't feel like there's an incentive for them to be in one. That's all that I was getting at. I really don't think there is. Leave out James Madison or Tulane and let Vandy play Notre Dame for the 12th spot. I don't disagree with that either, but you put rules in place that tied your hand, and you can't break those rules. You break those rules, you lose all credibility. Notre Dame will start getting an auto bid in the playoffs in 2026 if they are ranked in the top 12. They got a contract. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, the MOU that's signed. I want to know how big the check was, the ACC. We read that. Sorry?
I don't know how much I believe that either.
There's a lot of articles about it. So here we go. This is wild that we continue to see this thing happen. And there's a couple parts that I want to speak to. So Lane Kiffin obviously leaves for FSU. He allowed his former Ole Miss offensive assistants, Charlie Weiss Jr., tight end coach Joe Cox, wide receiver coach George McDonald, and quarterback coach Dan Stevens to return back. I didn't realize that many went with him, first of all. That man brought everybody with him. I thought just Charlie went. The way that Ole Miss acted was like, we retained everybody. Pete's got us. No. They got absolutely ransacked.
Staff.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like, they got absolutely cooked. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be on the ropes come Friday or Saturday. I think it's Saturday they play. I can't remember now. I think it's Saturday at noon. But, no, it's at 7. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We'll figure that part out. And so now he's allowing those all to go back. So remember, Charlie Weiss got allowed to go back like a week ago. Charlie probably went there, was like, it's a bomb over here, Lane. I need some water. And, again, this to me, they should have let Lane coached. At this point, Lane should have been able to coach. Because this ground that Kevin Carter claimed to stand on and trying to have this, like, you know, we're going to be justice and we're going to stand our ground. And I supported him. I understood why you didn't want that coach being there. But you're letting 7 dudes back in the building that are associated with LSU. And if for whatever reason, whether Lane was going to be advertising for LSU, whether Lane would have thrown the game, whether Lane would have been building his staff and not focused, you have the same shit going on. You have to worry about now 7 dudes doing the exact same thing that you could claim to be concerned about. So you were petty, which was fine. You were mad that he was leaving and were like, I'm not going to let you do your thing. That's fine. But then you realized you bit off more than you could chew. You realized we're still Ole Miss. You realize Pete Golding may not be the dog we thought he was. And we ain't got nobody else to handle business. So we got to get everybody back up in here. At this point, you should let Lane back in there.
Yep.
Let the man coach at this point.
You know what it is? Smells like wussy over there at fucking Ole Miss. Golly, with a capital P. Listen, you're Ole Miss. You were all this high and mighty, how great this program is. We saw all the lockdown Ole Miss guy. Oh, they should fire this guy, da. But then you cower. You cower because you're nothing. You are nothing, Ole Miss. And then you realize, oh, shit, Lane Kiffin took half the offensive staff. We can't even run a practice. Let's go ahead and let guys back in so we can make a playoff run here. Well, no shit, he was going to take the offensive side of the ball, dummy. Like, it was the only part good at Ole Miss. Oh, we got Pete Golden. He's a Louisiana, grew up in Mississippi. He's one of us. You know, who gives it? That was the worst part of the ball. They were terrible this year. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. That's why they got to score 45 points a game. They're terrible on defense.
So allegedly the players didn't want Lane Kiffin coaching. Well, look, they didn't want Lane after the debacle that went down. I understand that, but you could have avoided all of that. It says, hey, why are you advocating for Lane Kiffin? I'm advocating for justice of pushing back Carter, of like, hey.
All this Keith Carter about, oh, he's got such big nuts. He just got bitch slapped.
Yeah. He lost every ground. Yeah. Everything
you're letting 7 dudes come in there and poach your players now. Well, good thing they have the transfer portal, and good thing they have the Grove Collective because they're going to need it. Because now the offensive side of the ball is going to be there.
It'll be interesting saying like, "Hey, we didn't want Lane coaching. Let's see how many guys enter into the portal from Ole Miss and go to LSU." That's what's going to be interesting to see. Also, too, like again, we all like Lane's looked like the bad guy and looked completely ugly in this whole thing. Well, let's be honest. We've had fun making fun of him. The guy's getting brownie points now. All of a sudden, He's starting to collect good points again because he could have said
Hey,
F you.
You know what?
And again, I think he gets like a bonus or whatever. People are like, oh, he's doing it because it's a bonus. Do you really think he cares about $1 million bonus that LSU is going to pay him for this? I believe that he'll probably get something if they were to win, but he could have said F you very easily.
Listen. You know what? If I was the 80, ain't no way in hell I'm letting those cats back in my building. I'm saying, you know what? Figure it out, head coach.
Yeah,
Figure
we
it out.
made it.
Because
Keith, you had to.
We won't score a single point in the playoff, and I don't give a shit. I'm not letting the Bears back in.
Cody would burn it
You
down.
let the Wolves
Cody
back
would burn it
into the
down.
chicken house.
Cody goes, we're dying.
You let
This is
the
what we
Wolves
chose.
into the chicken house. How dumb are you? You sat there and peacocked around about how big of a dick you got as an AD and how you're setting the timeline. And if he's not with us, then he can go. Oh shit! He took our entire offensive staff, and we're not going to score any points. Oh no! Let's let 7 Wolves back into the chicken house. You dummy!
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
They got Ole Miss podcasters beating their chest. We're Ole Miss. Oh, we love our ID. He's such a dog. Oh shit! He just let 7 Wolves in the chicken house.
Look, I got a hand up. I gave Keith Carter a lot of credit after the way that it was handled. I thought he handled it well, but yeah, he backtracked quickly.
Not up. Stand your ground. Say no. I don't care if we score a point in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he dropped the ball here. And again, I mean, letting Charlie Weiss was enough, but like the other coaches aren't. It's not that big of a deal. But it really looks really bad when you let one guy come back and it's like, all right, we actually need all of you back. And that's probably Charlie going. He's looking around the room going, I don't have time to even go to these rooms anymore. It's like, yeah, you should have thought of that, brother. Keith, you should have talked to Pete because Pete was ready to rock and roll. Yeah, look, I just. The way they made it seem, the way that it was written about when they all left was like 3 dudes left, and Ole Miss was like, "Oh, we kept everybody." I was like, "Damn, hey, good on." Because at one point Charlie hadn't got into the airplane yet. Remember that? Charlie wasn't on the plane, and they showed that clip of Charlie get onto the plane, and the fan base is like, "Is that Charlie?" And they go absolutely berserk over it. But no, it wasn't just Charlie; it was your entire offensive staff let your ass. And here we are. So look, who knows what's going to happen now? Like, we want to talk about that. Like, again, like what you're saying is like you were concerned about letting the Wolves in. Now the Wolves are there. If they go and lose this game to Tulane, oh brother.
Gator Donkey, their AD aren't letting them have a chance when he wanted to big dick and not let Lane coach. He started this.
Yeah, no, listen. The players are involved. Like. Yeah, I agree with letting them have a chance, but why are you trying to stand this ground? I think you're misunderstanding the concept here. You can't say, hey, you can't coach this game, and then when you realize, like, yeah, the players are involved. Well, why didn't the AD think of that when he told them they couldn't coach? That's the problem.
He was too worried.
Yeah, his ego didn't care about the players when he said it, and then he walked into the room the next day and go, oh shit.
I would have went down to South Mississippi, got the best offensive high school coaches I could get, sign them to a 3-week contract, pay them a lump sum of money, and they could have coached the goddamn team on the offensive side of the ball. That's what I would have done if I'm Pete Golden. I'm going to get the best high school head coaches out there with good offenses. And listen, the playbook is still there. It's not hard to call dive left and dive right. I mean, what are we doing?
I'm excited to see what happens to this team after the fact.
From Mississippi High School and just let them sling it. Who cares?
Excited to see what happens.
Football.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
I'm excited to see what happens. I want to talk about playoff appearances here in just a minute. The argument that I want to get the chat's opinion on this because they're always voice their opinions very healthily, and I appreciate it. Leave out James Madison or Tulane. I already read that. This show's brought to you by Kalshi. We've been talking about Kalshi all season long. We were proud to be partnered with them, and they've powered this show to allow us to scream at the mics and scream at each other first thing early in the morning, which we love dearly with everything in our hearts. And what's special about Kalshi, it's not like your Vegas odds that are driven by Vegas. It's driven by you, the people, like a stock market. So the more money that's put into it, which drives the price of whatever you're betting on. You could be betting on who's going to win the Oscar, who's going to win the Grammys, who's going to be your next head coach at Ole Miss. They already have it, but that's what we use it a lot for this season. And, of course, you can bet on games with it as well. And why I like it more so than other sites is because you can pull out your bet in the middle of the game. You don't have to ride the wave the entire way through. If you find your bet having an advantage, you can pull out and take out your winnings. An interesting way to be able to do that now is maybe go look at who's going to win the national championship. Go get some of those lower end teams. Georgia is the third favorite right now. I think that they probably have a good chance of making that final championship. And as the playoffs go on, those odds will continue to increase. And you can get in at an early time right now and pull out. You have to wait for them to win the whole thing. Let them get to the Final Four, their odds will increase dramatically, and you can go ahead and take your W's and move on. That's actually the really cool way of doing it. Get in on the action. Use code HIGHTOP to get $10 off when you play or deposit your first $100 at Kalshi.com. Link is in the description. Now, speaking of playoff appearances, somebody tweeted this tweet, and I want to get everyone's thoughts. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. And I got into a massive, I'm talking ginormous pissing contest with Blake Ruffino from AY Sports. And I'm like, my goodness, like I love a good jousting match, and we had him on the show, and I realized on that show, like, if he has an opinion or a thought, like, he's just gonna like, there's no debating. Like, it's like, I'm right, and that's what I feel. And like, okay, we're gonna just move on. But it was crazy yesterday because this tweet went out, and it was perfectly said. And I just kind of hit like a quick little jab, and it got chaos. So somebody tweeted out, LSU did not hire a playoff coach, but Florida did. And then it said playoff appearances, John Summerall 1, Lane Kiffin 0. And he said this is a dumb tweet, and I go, but accurate. And then we went down a whole rabbit hole. And they tried moving the goalposts like Cody was earlier, and they don't realize I'm a master debater. Okay, yeah. So I can keep the goalpost. Yeah, I know you like that. I can keep the goalpost back in line just because you guys want to move it because you're losing an argument. No, Sweet Pea, I'm right here. Bring it back. The point of the argument, the original tweet was accurate. That Lane Kiffin has 0 playoff appearances. Whether you want to argue that he led this team to the playoffs, that he was part of a playoff caliber team, all that's fine. The tweet was playoff appearances. Lazy little bitch ass ain't ever appeared in a playoff. Technically, John hasn't made his appearance yet. However, when his team was announced to be a playoff team, John was labeled as the head coach. When Ole Miss was actually qualified as a playoff team, Pete Golding was the head coach. So am I wrong on that? He has 0 playoff appearances, right?
I mean, I probably wouldn't have gotten a pissing match about a tweet.
Did you
about
see?
Playoff
it was
appearances.
wild, bro. It was wild. It kept intriguing me. I'm like, there's no way.
Bro,
like,
I'm to the point. I'm to the point. Like, we have a live call-in show every Thursday. If you got a fucking problem with a tweet I said or a tweet Shelton said, call in, dog. And if you're here's another thing. You have a pretty well reputable contest. If you're willing to get in that big of a pissing contest, at least earn a buck off of it and make some content and come on the show. Shit, we'll do a little home and home. I'll go on. Like this is the craziest part about it is he wants to get in a pissing contest on Twitter and about a tweet that doesn't even really mean anything.
I'm wrong. Cringe on your behalf. I don't know if it's cringe, but I don't think he wants to call it. Again, I don't know if us debating over the mic would have made any difference. I thought about that, but I was like, this isn't going anywhere because we don't see eye to eye on this.
Yeah, you're 0-1 right now against him. So I thought I
thought I won the Brian Kelly argument.
Yeah. No, you didn't. Nope.
Well,
I won the Brian Kelly argument.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I mean 0 playoff appearances. Like, I don't know how that's a clown take. Like, you are wrong. Well, here's the thing. If you Google how many playoff appearances does Lane Kiffin have, it says 0. So
it says 0.
You can argue with whoever you want, but the internet says otherwise. So
does Billy Napier technically get a playoff appearance? Is he
because he's not the head coach of. I mean, he is, but no. I think he was hired after the fact.
Are we sure? Is he coaching the team right now, or is
no? He's not
their
coaching
coach
the team right now. What are you talking about?
Okay, I don't know. keep up
$5.
with
The
this
AYS
mess.
dude was annoying as AF. Can't argue that, guys. Can't argue that you guys have the bigger show. LOL. Put that in a tweet. Crazy. The lower brand has a bigger show. I don't. He argued that he has a pretty big show. So I'm not gonna. I don't know about all that. Lane coached him into the playoffs, not in the playoffs. Yeah, and I was fine with that. He led them to the playoffs. He doesn't have. The whole point was he doesn't have any playoff appearances. I think they were trying to argue that he's a playoff coach. Like, look, we can get into semantics. The tweet was funny, and the tweet was right. That's all that I was alluding to. Like, it was accurate. It was playoff appearances 0, playoff appearances 1. That I will die on that hill. That it was accurate. Like,
I saw it, and then I saw you two argue, and I was just like, wow,
yeah, it was definitely way out of touch. And I'm like, dude, like this is it got down a place to where it was just like crazy. But I'm like, the fact of the matter is the original tweet was accurate. That's all that I said. If you want to get mad and upset about who and what's and how good of a coach, the emotional response to it was wild. And then it got like super. It was getting a little personal. Jazz, like, I mean, I enjoy it. It was fun. I was getting annoyed. Other people were trying to attack me too. So like saying that I was an idiot. I'm like, dude, maybe I'm just completely blind to it. But there is nothing that you can tell me nor try to convince me on that my take of playoff appearances for Lane Kiffin is 0.
I'm just glad that cat told us what Discovery was.
Yeah, then he threw that back in my face that I didn't know what Discovery was, which I don't believe he described it right either. So I don't know.
No, he didn't. He didn't, and he was wrong. Yeah, I was right the whole time about the Brian Kelly situation.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, not the guy who got pressed Lane. Who pressed Lane? This is the LSU guy that I got in an argument. No, Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all. I got no beef with any of them. I think they're all cool cats.
Ben Stanton down.
Yeah. Yeah, only one of them is coaching the playoffs. I don't see how this is even a discussion. That's kind of how I felt. That's what was like driving me bananas. It drove me batty yesterday. That like they're making it seem like I was crazy, and I'm like, brother.
What do you think? Do you think Florida would have allowed him to coach the playoffs if the shoe was on the other foot?
Well, the issue I don't think was ever LSU or Florida. It seems to be. Well, I don't think LSU was going to let him either. But it seems like
no.
It's
I'm saying if you flip the script, do you think RAD would have let Lane Kiffin coach a playoff if he was going somewhere else? Say he was going to Alabama.
What? Oh, if our coach left Florida. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Look, I agree. I want you to know, I supported Keith's decision to not let him coach.
I did support it. I don't support it now.
Well, because he backtracked it.
Because he backpedaled.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Now it's like now you just look like an idiot. Now you just look like a dick.
Yeah.
Like for no reason. That's like, bro, that's like when you put your 2 weeks in and they just fire you like the next day.
It's like, so the point again. It is a pointless point you're trying to prove. The way here's what's even crazy. The argument was dumb because all I said was the tweet was accurate. Then he quote tweeted me and wanted to basically call me an idiot. I'm like, brother, like it's not much to really to discuss. Like it's right. That was it, and we just kept going further and further and further. So our guy Jordan Travis couldn't make it big time on the football field, so he decided to get behind a mic, which everybody, us included, when things aren't going well, you just say, hey, let's go start a podcast because nothing else is working.
Yeah.
So I watched the video, and we want to talk about cringe. Like I'm like, dude, this is like there's zero context to this. Like it feels like
John?
It feels like, hey, I watched how my fan base reacted to this hiring. And apparently this is kind of like the commonality across FSU fans. I know Holly feels the same way, that we made a bad hire with John Summerall. The ironic that FSU thinks they have any legs to stand on. Like, it doesn't matter if we've got John Summerall or an assistant coach on that sideline. Y'all got other things to worry about. But here's what's Jordan Travis's take on us hiring John Summerall. And his host clearly is actually good at the job. Jordan Travis is simply just trying to ride off the fact that, hey, I'm never going to play football again. Let me start Travis take 2. Let me go ahead and see if I can get some leverage here on a quick podcast.
On Summerall, UF, Tulane, so much success. I think it's a pretty damn good hire in my end.
I think it's like a backup plan and a side chick that
Okay.
you always have around, and just like, oh, here he is. Like, I mean, they wanted Lane Kiffin. They were all in on Lane Kiffin. I think me and you both thought Lane Kiffin was going to UF.
He got so much money.
So yeah, I think it's just a kind of a backup plan, and hope it works. Once again, we're just throwing stuff at a wall and hoping it's working, and that's kind of the world of college football right now.
You know better than me. Ton of success at Tulane, though. Beat up on some good teams. They beat Auburn in a bowl game.
I love how his co-host is kind of like, yeah, I don't agree with that take at all. But yeah, like, again, I'm not, and I know a lot of fans are going to come in troll and say, he was your second option. He was a side chick. Everyone has a plan B. And that was what Scott even said in the interview, which I really appreciated the candidacy of, like, look, every candidate that we had to interview, it wasn't a secret of what we wanted. It wasn't a secret of what plan A was. So we had to navigate that. So look, to an extent, was it the side chick or what all these things? Was it a valid backup plan? Again, I just think that it's the way that he even was talking in the mic was like, I don't know, it was very soft and not a true. The fact of the matter is that we all know this. And even our guy here that came on our show, an LSU guy, I'm thinking Marler, what's his name? He's an LSU reporter, and he's excited for obviously what he's got lined up for. I can't think of his name, but he wrote an article discussing why the Summerall hire was a great hire for Florida. As everybody has been very adamant, like, yo, Florida knocked it out of the park with this one. And look, Florida fans, we can agree to this. We were not on that boat when it happened. But after the fact, to say that it was just a complete side chick hire, I mean, it's a lazy take. It's a lazy take. Go ahead.
I mean, it's Jordan Travis. I mean, like,
I know. It's
I
slow
don't-
news week.
yeah, I guess dude, like, you know, so you're saying you don't have a backup plan? Well, you're never going to be successful in any business that you try to run, because you should always have a backup plan. Because if we know one thing, people will leave you astray unless they're a straight dog like me. Okay, listen, it's one of those things. There's a reason why managers gotta overload on Fridays and Mondays after a 3-day weekend for workers, because they don't show up. So for you to say it's a side chick hire, like, what are we talking? It's college football. Like, what, you got to make a coaching hire? What are you gonna say? Oh, I didn't get my guys, so we're not gonna make a coaching hire. Yeah, we saw how that's turning out.
Yeah, so he was a backup plan. I didn't see anything wrong with the take. Look, it's not, again, he's not wrong. Like, that definitely was our backup plan. I think it was more of the approach, as if, like, yeah, it's going to be ass. They're just throwing things up against the wall, hoping it sticks. Like, it was a lazy take. There wasn't any true substance to it. But Jacob says, Shelton, you're soft if you're back in on the Scott Stricklin. Call me Charmin, brother. You know what I mean? You call me Charmin. No, I'm not back on anything. Here's what I get irritated by. It's like, we see something, we think it's like, okay, we're gonna have a take on it, and we're gonna just like not have any grounds to listen to anybody. And all I'm saying is that, hey, love the conversation that he had, appreciated the candidacy. The fact of the matter is, if this hire doesn't work out, he's gone, and I believe he knows that. I believe that's why he's trying to do what he can do to try to explain what happened in the situation and how things unfolded. And I think that regardless of how you feel, it's okay to listen to somebody and have a fair shake. Like, I'm just sit here and say F you the whole time. Like, then call me soft, bro. It's like that again. That to me isn't a true take or a true testament of, like, all I'm simply saying is, has he done some things that have irritated me? Yeah, I've been very vocal about those things that I have been frustrated on. And I even said it at the beginning of this. I go, hey, look, guy's a good politician, so he knows his way how to talk his way out of things. But I felt like it was good. Yeah, I have a soundbite. I can play it. Hold on. I'll play this right here.
See the success he had at Ole Miss. Lane obviously had those, and to see the success he had at Ole Miss, that's appealing, right? Because somebody who's learned and they've grown. So it wasn't just we were being pushed to him. We were interested in him as a possibility, and I'd say strongly interested. And but at the same time, we knew we couldn't just count on that. And so we were doing our due diligence on a number of candidates. Ended up talking to, nearly a dozen when it was all said and done. But, it was obvious where that was shaping up. And there was a flurry of initial engagement, I would say. really positive conversations, and then the communication became a little more erratic, and the timing of when that began to occur, just reading the tea leaves gave me the impression that it's a good thing we talk to other people, and we're going to have to look at some other candidates.
I heard this twice today, or this a couple weeks. Him reading the tea leaves. Pat McAfee talked about reading the tea leaves. We always say we were reading the tea leaves. I'm like, man, no, they're all just like us. Everybody's just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Ain't nobody got a clue.
Well, they watch the show. Pat included.
Yeah, they watch the show. Yeah, and we're just reading Scott's like reading tea leaves. Like, brother, you reading the message boards too? Trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But yeah, again, I appreciate the candidacy. Again, he could have came out there like, yeah, we were on John the whole time. It was a smoke screen. But no, he's like, no, we got beat. Like, it is what it is. Like, I respect that. Whether you hate the man, whether you think he's an idiot, like, it takes a lot of courage to go on a show and say, hey, like, our plan one sucked. Our plan one got blown up.
I'd rather him go that to say that and to know that we got beat on the first option A1 candidate than for him to come on and say we never even talked to that guy.
Yeah.
I think that does more damage to Gator Nation than what it would if we, because we got beat out. Like, we didn't talk to Lane Kiffin. Like, what are you talking about? He's cuckoo. We don't care what he did at Ole Miss. He's got a checkered past. We're not taking a coach like that. Then that would have pissed off Florida Gator fans.
Yeah, and that's my thing is, like, again, hate him, love him, call me soft, what have you. I can sit here and say, hey, respect for how he handled that. Gator Mate says Stricklin should have come out sooner and been more open during the process. He allowed it to spiral to the point we were at. I'll get to that in just a minute, but we are Rollins just became a member. Thank you for becoming a member, Rollins. Look, that's a tough one to look into, Gator Made, because personally, when you're in the midst of trying to do the job, like it's like the thing's on fire, and like I'm gonna do a quick presser real quick to talk about how this fire got started. Like you gotta address the situation at hand. Like, I'm not here to talk about it. Could he still have got a few things handled maybe, but yeah. Look, and he kind of later on in the interview he goes, look, did we handle it the right way? Could we have handled it better? Could we have communicated it better? Probably. He says that. So, again, for me, I as a man, I respect anybody that's willing to be like, yeah, here's where we could have been better. This is where we sucked. Like, I appreciate the honesty. I'm not
like
necessarily
my favorite sports segment on TV is Colin Cowherd, where I was right and where I was wrong.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal. It's very refreshing. And again, I don't think that condones or allows for the other mistakes that he has done. I think that, there are some things that I've been advocate of, but look, he still has made some bonehead decisions that I am not a fan of.
Listen, I've been wrong before. I wasn't a Drake May fan. Okay, and he's balling. All right, like, I did not like Drake May at all.
Yeah, Scott did allow Gary to take a ton of heat. Look, those are things that are. I like JJ
McCarthy better, and JJ McCarthy's ass. He's terrible.
Oh, you're off the car. Oh, you're off the train. You're off on our.
I'm off the train.
Where's Ty? Where's Ty when you need him? I do agree with that. That's a good one too.
Listen, I'll admit when I'm wrong. Sometimes I am wrong.
Good stuff. Good stuff. A lot of fun discussions today. 500 strong hanging out with us. Chaotic show. I assume that I probably will see you guys later on. We've got basketball tonight at 9. You're doing that? I can tune in. I can be there.
Yeah.
I should be able to be there. Keep the bell turned on, because if anything pops, whether it comes to portal news or coaching hires, I assume some more assistants will pop today. I'm getting text right now about the running back coach.
Juicy?
Can
you say it?
No.
You're the worst.
I know.
Will you tell me afterwards?
No.
Of course not. He doesn't tell me anything, guys. He didn't tell me anything.
Well, I have to do my due diligence. I'm not going to just throw names around out there. I don't want to get in trouble for nonsense. I just let the hire happen. Who cares if you know first? I'd rather be right.
Yeah.
I'd rather be right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about just tossing a name around that. That's why I like the boards come out and then we'll talk about it. But I don't want to be associated with a name that's. Let them work. Let them work behind the scenes. There's plenty of people that'll ruin it. I don't want to be the one that ruins it. So,
And you
and I
know,
don't know how much.
I'm really excited for this winter time. Like, I know we're in winter, but come January when we don't really have much to talk about, definitely deep dive into. I did it on my own channel back in the day. I did a deep dive when we got Austin Armstrong, what I thought about him. Wrote down a bunch of notes. Definitely gonna do that about with. We'll take a little bit of Georgia Tech stuff, and then I'll watch some of the other stops that he was at, and then obviously for DC we'll do the same thing.
Yeah,
So
we'll definitely.
have a full breakdown. Full breakdown.
The chat dialed. Will we get a show if we get hired? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we don't play games. We'll definitely be doing a show if we snag one. So good stuff. A lot of heated debates here. I do love these shows. I do love arguing. I think it's healthy.
I'm gonna drop a about 2:00. I'm gonna drop a Hester film review video. So be on the lookout for that.
Look at this guy, all over the ball here.
Yep. Might as well use my day off I got.
Cody, can we do a deep dive into Kentucky's defense?
Cody? Yeah, we will. I did it on my old channel with Austin Armstrong. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot better than that. But yeah, I'm gonna. So I watch the games and then I just take special notes. Like, so when Austin Armstrong was at South Mississippi, there was a game where they lost their quarterback. Southern Miss, yeah. They lost their quarterback. Their backup quarterback came in, threw a pick right away, and then they just ran Gore Jr. as a super back the entire time, the rest of the game. So I had to take into account, like, obviously the big schematical offensive change and what the play style of what you can do with that, because your offense obviously dictates a little bit of how you can play defense, right? So yeah, we're definitely going to do we'll do a very probably two-part series. We'll probably do when he was at the smaller schools, Arkansas State, stuff like that, and then we will do the Georgia Tech. We'll do a prequel and then a postquel. And then obviously, yeah, we're going to break down the tendencies of Kentucky's defense, what we like, what we don't like, stuff like that too.
$2 graded without saying a name. I give that a B+. I think a lot of it comes down to what's being asked. I think cost plays a factor into that. So, but I think the cat's got some. I mean,
we do Summerall too. Yeah, dude, we got plenty of time. We got till. I mean, we don't have the spring game is the next closest thing of real football we have. So yeah, we could do Summerall too. Yeah, we do a deep dive on it.
The basketball. I'm excited for basketball tonight too. We didn't do. It was so hectic last week. We didn't recap the Duke game, but although we lost that game, I feel like we found ourselves a lot in that game. I was excited with how they closed, so I'm excited to see what we do tonight against UConn, which will be another great matchup for the boys. And then we've got like a month of pretty easy scheduling, and then before we get into conference play. So, look, the shooting has been atrocious, and that's in a weird way. Like in basketball, like it's like a hot and cold thing. Like eventually, I assume you can find that and get it turned on. So the way they played and kind of got gritty there at the end against Duke, I'm loving what we're getting to. I did see a short last night where the last 10 or 12 champions were determined that at this week's AP poll, which is like week 6, we're in the top 12. So for the last 10 years, I think is what it was, your national basketball champion was ranked in the top 12 at week 6. Florida's not ranked in the top 12. So interesting little tidbit there, I thought.
But if you beat UConn, you could be.
Yeah, but it was after this week. Like it was this week's top 12. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't remember Florida being ranked that high last year at this point. I don't know how true
Yeah, we were rolling. We were on like a 12 game win streak.
Yeah, but we weren't playing a lot of tough teams.
And then the shenanigans came out.
Yeah, but I remember it took us a minute to get.
Yeah, but there was a bunch of teams that had a bunch of like 1 and 2 losses already, and that's why we were ranked so high. I think we're 5th.
Yeah, Tasha used that timeout. That was atrocious. It's Cody with a KODY. Yeah. All right, boys, y'all be good, be safe. Happy Tuesday, happy morning show, good stuff. Y'all be good. Hey. Peace and love, baby. Oh, wait. Advent calendar.
The Advent calendar, yeah.
Cody would have been pissed. Pissed if we didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Did I get another 22? Who is this? I already have a 22. Maybe the other 22 wasn't who I thought this was, because this looks like Emmett. Golly.
Get out of there.
Get it out of there. Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had this one too. They look different though.
Are jersey colors different?
Yeah. No, the
Yeah.
people look the same. Maybe it's just two Emmitt Smiths. I don't know.
Nope, knows the brew. Hey. Knows the brew. Professor steps in.